YouTube. Today we're going to be loading some new ammunition. Okay, we're going to be doing some 300 grain Hornady HPs. Alright, so my husband's prepared some nice brass for us here today. We're going to be using Winchester Westerns 4570 governments. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to take some of this smokeless powder, we're going to put it in here, crank it up. Okay, we're going to fill them up. We're going to put our primers in. We're going to use this Lyman. Here. We're going to use this Lyman 45 cal short. Okay? We're going to put it in here, and it's going to do exactly what we want it to do. And he's going to show us how to use this thing right here, because we need to make sure it's within 37 thousandths. Okay, 37 thousandths is what we're working with today. Okay, it's real important. All right, show them.
I'm going to do a test try on this pencil. Oh, too big. What we have to be measuring?
We gotta do 87 thousandths off lands. Okay?
On what?
This right here. Go ahead and measure this one right here. Okay, we've got to make sure it's just right.
All right. Enough of the nonsense for the evening. The time has come now to load some 4570. We shot our baseline video last week actually earlier this week. This is Friday. We shot it on Monday. And the gun performed very well and the loads performed very well. I was very happy with it. Unfortunately, though, I am out of the bullets that we loaded up in those. They were 300 grain Hornady hollow points. I'm out of them. I went down to Sportsman's Warehouse and they were out also. But they did have some 350 grain round nose interlocks. Bought a box of those. I think that they will do pretty good. The 4570s are known for liking a heavier bullet. We're going to give them a try. As far as powder goes, I kept going back and forth in my mind on powder, because I had bought some IMR 3031. I've got the H4831 SC. I've got some Varget, and I have the IMR 4198 that I've had for a while. Did the testing with the 4831 SC the other day, and it didn't burn really well. I still want to do some more testing with that. I do. As a matter of fact, I have sized and put some Magnum primers in my 4 oddball pieces of brass here that I want to test the 4831 SC with. I want to try some case filler and see what happens. I've been doing some reading on it, been doing some research. I got some more to do before I actually make a video and start showing you what I'm doing with it, because I don't want to do anything dangerous. Been put it on video for anybody to go try. But I'm going to do some more testing with that. But I was still going back and forth in my mind on what powder I wanted to shoot. Did I want to try the 3031? Did I want to try the Varget? But kept debating on what I was going to use, and you know, the IMR 4198 was what we used in the baseline video. It shot really good. So I decided to go back with the 4198. Give that another try with these heavier bullets and see what happens. As far as cartridge length goes, I had measured my length to lands with the 300 grain hollow points in my B78. That wound up being 2.637 inches. I do not have a bullet comparator yet for the 45 caliber bullets. Sportsman's Warehouse local to me doesn't have one in stock. They don't carry one in stock. So I'm going to have to order one from Midway, and I just haven't got around to ordering it. So I don't know what the ogive difference is between the 300 and the 350. Don't know how close they are to each other. Don't know how close this cartridge overall length to lands is that I had measured with the 300. What we're going to do instead is we're going to load and seat the bullets to the canalure. Now the published data for these bullets says 2.550 inches of cartridge overall length. We're going to load the canalure. I'm not sure exactly what the canalure is going to be. Frankly, I'm not really that worried about the cartridge length canalure in this, because I know that it's not going to be too long for my chamber. We're limited to how many loads we can try at a time with the 4570 right now, because I've only got 19 pieces of brass. That's all the full-length brass that I've got. I got a bunch of Hornady Lever Evolution brass laying around. But you know what? The Hornady Lever Evolution brass is I think 30 thousandths or something like that shorter. I forget exactly how much shorter, but it's shorter than normal 4570 brass. It's useless to me. I'm not interested in that short brass. I got to get some more brass. I've got Magnum primers in my 4 oddball pieces. We're not going to fool with those. We're just going to load the 15 that I've got normal pieces. That'll give us 3 5-shot groups. I wanted to kind of spread the field a little bit on our powder. The IMR 4198 for the 350 grain interlock has a range of loads from 32 grains all the way up to 45 grains. I wanted to kind of get in the middle and spread the field in the middle. So I chose the loading for 1500 feet per second velocity as our starting load. That's the second to lowest. It's 34.7 grains of powder. The next load up is 1600 feet per second. It is 37.3 grains of powder. So we're going to split 3 loads between that. We're going to do 34.7. We're going to go up to 36, and then we're going to finally load 37.3, which gives us an even changes in the powder. I think it's 1.3 grain changes that we're going to go to. But the first thing we need to do before we can load the powder is we need to size our cases. Now, I was dumb. I cleaned all these cases the other night, got them ready. I was prepping for this video. Got the cases ready. They came out of the sonic cleaner. They still had some buildup on them. I ran some steel wool on them, made them look nice and pretty. Don't normally do that, but they were getting a little bit cruddy on the outside because the sonic cleaner just can't get all the crud off the outside of them. So I cleaned them up right nice and pretty. And then, like an idiot, I primed them all. I wasn't thinking, hey, stupid, you haven't actually sized the cases yet. So I went and primed them like a dummy. But that's all right. We can deal with that. We're going to be using a Lyman 45 short sizing die. The reason why it's a short sizing die is it's a neck sizing die for a 4570 or a 45 120, 45 90. There's several cartridges it works for. But that's what we're going to be using. We're going to be removing the decapping pin because, of course, we don't want to decap our nice, fresh, primed cases. Now, it's got a nice lock ring on it with a nice set screw, and I have it set for my press and these bullets. The instructions tell you to put it in your press and run it down, raise your ram, run the die down until it touches your shell holder, and that's where you set it. So that's what I've done before, and I've just locked the lock ring down. So that's all I got to do. I don't have to mess with it anymore. So we're going to use this die. I think I forget what I paid for this die. I think it was about 20 bucks. I've got a full-length sizing die for the 4570, but being as I'm shooting them all in the same rifle, I'm going to go ahead and short size them. Just size the case mount. So we'll do sizing first. But before we can size, we got to lube these cases because this is not a carbide die. I cannot find a carbide die. I don't think anybody makes any kind of carbide dies for the 4570. I wish this was a carbide neck sizing die, but it's not. So we got to lube our cases up a little bit. Now the way I lube my cases is I use this RCBS case lube that came with my Rock Chucker Supreme kit. I use it because it was free. I got it. It seems to work pretty good. Eventually, I will upgrade to some Imperial Sizing Wax from Redding. But for now, this works good. I just squeeze a little bit out on my little case lube pad here. Rub it in real good to the pad. Clean my finger off. Grab a case. And I just stick just about the upper half of it on it. And I just roll it. One complete roll. Smear it around real good. And that's it. That's all I do. Just a small amount of lubricant. You don't want to over-lube. If you over-lube your cases, it's going to cause buckles in your cases when you size them. So you don't want to over-lube. So I'm just using a little bit. Next up is the actual sizing process. So remember, like I said, once again, there is no decapping pin in here because I have already primed the brass. So for sizing, very simple. Move it up in until it makes contact. Should be easy, very little force. Pull it out. Now, this die, as you can see, or if you can see, this die doesn't size very far down. You can see there's a ring about right there where the sizing stops. So about halfway down this case. I've been wiping the cases off with a paper towel just to wipe the case lube off of them. Roll me another case here. Very little force needed. My gun does not have a very loose chamber. It's a nice tight chamber in the thing. Now on these cases, these particular cases, I will not have to chamfer the case mouth because I have already chamfered the case mouth the last time that I used them. However, what we are going to have to do is we're going to have to expand the case mouths before we load our bullets in. I have actually not checked the length on these cases, but the last time that I loaded them, I trimmed them. So they were well below trim length. So I'm not even going to bother to check the length on the cases because I know that they have not grown, especially not neck sizing them. Alright, so I'm going to finish sizing these up, and we'll be back when we go to expanding necks. Next up is case mouth expansion. Just like with the 38 Super, we have to expand the case mouth in order to be able to see the bullet in these straight wall cases. Well, I've got my Lee case mouth expansion tool, and this is their powder through expanding dies where you could charge the case with powder as you expanded it. Well, I'm not going to do that. I like to weigh my powder. But I do know that I have this thing already set up to where I want it to be to expand my cases. Simple procedure, just like with the 38 Super. You set it to how you want it. You can adjust the depth to make it expand them where you want it. Then you just run the case up in it. It's got a little floating ball in it. You expand the mouth, and when you pull it back down, you'll feel it hit that the little floating stem in there and pull off the case mouth. Very simple. Just a slight expansion is all you want. And that's it. All of them case mouth sized. Next thing up is going to be weighing powder. Here lately, as of late, since I've been using, just loading up 15 rounds, I haven't even been using my powder measures. I've just been measuring it up by hand. I've been switching between powders so much that it's easier just to weigh it up by hand. When I go to loading a whole big bunch of cases at once, well, then I'll use the powder measure. But for now, by hand. So we'll get our, as usual, we'll get both our scales out of here. Go ahead and tear our balance beam scale. Get it set to 0. Alright. We will set to our first charge, 34.7 grains. Tear our digital scale. Good to go. Get our powder. And my little handy dipper. I like this little dipper. This little dipper came with this Lyman digital scale, and it's proven pretty handy. Oh, look at there, 34.6. Alright, that's 34.8. According to this, let's see what the balance beam says. Yeah, balance beam showing about a 1/10 high. I'm not worried about 1/10. We're going to go with that. So my brand new case holder that I bought here earlier today, it's a little bit on the small side to fit our funnel down in. So I'm going to pick the cases up out and do it. But that's alright. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish weighing these up. We're going to do 34.7, we'll do 36, and then we'll do 37.3. And then we'll seed our bullets. Okay, our powder's weighed up. Cases are charged. But the next thing we need to do is we need to seed our bullets. For that, we're going to go turn to our Lee bullet seeding die. I did some research on it. I actually asked some questions on 4570 owner's page on Facebook about bullet seeding die because I like my Hornady 30-06 die. I like it a lot. I think it's a fantastic die. I asked a question on the 4570 owner's page. Would it be worthwhile in a 4570 to buy a Hornady seeding die? And the resounding answer that I got from everybody was no. With the straight-walled cartridge and the big fat 45 bullet, it's just, you're not getting any benefit out of it. Everybody says the Lee die is perfectly fine. Well, that's good because I own one. So we're going to go with it. So the instructions with this die are you start the die in, you put a case in, you run the case up, full press extension, then you turn the die in until you feel the die impact the case mouth. If you do not want to crimp, you back the die out one full turn, 1 to 2 full turns. One full turn, as I have found, has been plenty for me. And you lock it down right there. That's where you stay. From that point, you turn your adjustment knob. Now, I'm going to back the adjustment knob out, the seating depth adjustment out, because I do not remember. I had it set, but I want to make sure that we don't sit too deep. Start with one of our 34 grain loads. Put our case in, set our bullet on top. I didn't flare these a whole lot now. You can flare them a lot, but I didn't flare them a whole lot. Just kind of get the bullet started straight. Up into the die. Alright. Quite obviously, we got a long way to go. I'm going to go in, I don't know, 3 or 4 turns. Getting a little bit closer. I'll go in a half a turn. I want to shoot for dead center of the cantilever. There we go. Beautiful. Right there. Alright. Out of curiosity, let's see what this overall length is on this thing. we have 2.564, which is just slightly longer than the cartridge overall length called out in the manual, which is just right. I'm very happy with that. Let's do another one. Good. So I'm going to seat them all down, and then we'll crimp. Well, the last step in the process is crimping. And there's always an argument between shooters, especially single shot shooters, about to crimp or not to crimp. A lot of people say, it's more accurate if you don't crimp. Others say, crimp. Personally, I like to crimp. And the reason why I like to crimp, even with my target ammo like this, is because I am a firm believer in the notion of practice like you play. And when I say practice like you play, in the terms of a gun, I'm always going to crimp my hunting loads. Because my hunting loads, I'm walking around out in the woods, they're clanging around in my pockets, they're banging around, and I want to crimp. So they are always going to get crimped. So therefore, I always crimp my target loads. Practice like you play. Now, this is the Lee factory crimp die for the 4570. It's a collet crimper. And the instructions for it are you spin it down until it touches your case mouth, and then you go in an extra half turn. From there, you can either do a lighter crimp or a heavier crimp by adjusting how far the die is screwed in. I personally watch the collet. When the collets come almost together, almost touching, that's where I like my crimps to be. That way we get a little bite into the cantilever. Simple to use this die. Put your bullets up in it. Crimp them. When you're done, you have got a nice little, you're not going to be able to see it, nice little bit of a crimp ring. Just a faint one, not a hard one. Just a little bite into the cantilever. There we have it. All crimped. But there we go. 15 rounds of 45-70, 350 grain Hornady round nose. And I will say this, that is a mean looking round right there. It's a big old chunk of lead. So the next thing we're going to do is give the babies a test. We'll see you on the range. Alright, so it's time to shoot these bad boys. Now, conditions are not ideal. I've got a pretty decent crosswind, but it's gusty. So I'm going to have to kind of wait and shoot in between gusts of wind. Also, I have messed around and I have ridden off down here and forgot my notebook at the house. And it's been a couple days since I loaded up these rounds, so I admittedly do not remember what the charge weights were. So we're just going to have to discuss them in the cutscene. I know it's lowest, middle, and highest, because that's the way I always lay my ammo out. So we got 15 rounds to shoot. I'm going to shoot nice and slow in between the winds once again. Just like last time, this is my Browning B78 4570 octagon barrel. Sister gun to an 1885. This gun was manufactured in 1976 with a 3 to 9 by 40 Nikon Pro Staff scope. Got my nice new Caldwell Steady Rest NXT, and you know, I've been doing a little shooting on it. I am still in the process of learning exactly how to use this thing and get it set up and get it adjusted to me. So it's taking a little bit of work to figure it all out, but I'm getting there. All right, upper left target. No pressure signs. Oh, the brass is still nice and clean. Very little fouling in the barrel. 4198 is pretty clean burning powder. Try number 2. Yep, brass looks good. This scope is so much clearer than the scope on my 30-06. However, that problem will be solved at the end of the week because I caught a sale at Midway and I caught a free shipping at Midway, and I have ordered myself a Vortex Crossfire scope for the 30-06. So I've actually filmed a 30-06 video loading at the same time I loaded these, and had started filming a 30-06 shooting video the other day, and I got disgusted with the scope. I got disgusted with the group, so I'm going to reload all the rounds that I loaded for that video, and I'm going to wait until the new scope gets here and finish the 30-06 video. So really excited about that. So that should be coming out sometime this weekend. I plan to do that shooting and get that video uploaded. All right, brass looks good. Let's go take a look at that group. There was a couple flyers in that group. I think a couple of them was my fault. I'm still trying to get used to this new rest, but it looks promising. So we're moving on to our mid-range load. Brass still looks fine, no flattening of the primer. All right, let's take a look at those. I see a couple flyers already. Yeah, there was a couple flyers in that group. If you've watched a couple of my videos, you know the common thread is don't blame the gun, don't blame the ammo, blame me. Barrel's still nice and cool on the gun. We'll be shooting our last set here, bottom target. See what happens. Yeah, that brass still looks good. No flattening of the primer. go take a look. Here's the results of today's shooting. And, you know, y'all, I am just frustrated and aggravated. So, to have shot such good groups the other day, the last time we shot, it was pretty pitiful today. I didn't even bother to measure these. They're pretty bad. So, I don't know. I don't know if the gun doesn't like the bullet. Maybe the gun doesn't like the hotter charges with that bullet. I really don't know, actually, but I think, though, that it's me and my new rest. I'm still trying to figure out the most efficient way to use the rest. I'm trying to get it all straightened out because the other day when I employed the rest, I was shooting my 30-06 and the groups got a little better when I was holding the gun, holding my left hand on the buttstock. But today, with the 45-70, it seems like the groups got worse when I was doing that. So I was trying to shoot a good group right here. But, you know, I had two bad flyers. Okay, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure they were me. Yeah, there you go. This one here, this was our 36 grain. The 36 grain, I don't know what the deal was with that. It was trying to shoot a good group there too. But still, two bad flyers. All right, move to the bottom. And then down here on 37.3 grain, we had it was kind of doing some stringing down there, and then two bad flyers to the bottom. Interesting to me that the point of impact, okay, you can move your hand, bud. Thank you. Interesting to me that the point of impact shifted down with the higher grains. That was really with the higher charge of powder. That was really weird to my notion. The top two, the point of impact was right up there at the target, but they moved. Point of impact moved down with the higher grain load. So I don't know. I'm frustrated with it. I'm aggravated. I've got to figure out how to use this new rest. I thought it was going to be the cure-all to my crappy shooting, and it's not. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple weeks hiatus from videos and try to figure out what I'm doing wrong with this thing and the whole setup of shooting and all. And probably employ a 22 rifle and start shooting with a 22 rifle and just put a lot of rounds down range and try to figure out what I'm doing wrong with some cheap ammo instead of these good hand loads so that I can get a lot more efficient and try to figure out what I'm doing. I'll probably make a video this weekend when my new scope comes in for my 30-06 because I'll have to try it out and see how it does. But that'll probably be it for a couple of weeks until I can get myself figured out here because I don't want to waste good ammo on crap like this. I mean, hopefully we're learning something. I'm learning stuff, and hopefully you're enjoying my antics. And if you're enjoying my struggles, I certainly am not enjoying my struggles, but I'm learning from them. It's aggravating, but if you're enjoying my struggles and you're enjoying my antics, then subscribe to the channel because eventually I'm going to shoot some good groups on here. I've just got to get it figured out. Until next time, y'all have a good one.